My name's Kat, this is the Dividend Diary, and here's how much I made through dividends on my Trading 212 Stocks and Shares ISA in September. If you've watched my previous dividend videos, I hope you've enjoyed them. I'm excited to share my progress here because I love financial transparency videos and I'm very nosy. I hope you are as well and that you will like, subscribe and enjoy this video. So at this point, the value of my Trading 212 Stocks and Shares ISA was £15,711.82. In August, I moved over £5,000 from the cash ISA, which left about £1,100 in there. Not all of this was added to the dividend paying stocks and some were sitting in cash. I fully expect by the end of October that I will have added the rest of my cash ISA to my stocks and shares ISA, because I think we all know where this is going. So my first dividend payouts for September arrived on the 1st. I was paid 2 pence from WW Granger with 0.01 of a share, and then 26 pence came from Target for 0.36 of a share. On the 2nd of September, I had dividends from Walmart at 7 pence with 0.5 of a share. AFLAC paid out 5 pence with 0.13 of a share, and Pfizer paid out 6 pence and I had 0.22 of a share. On the 5th, TBC Bank paid 4 pence for 0.09 of a share, and Sherwin-Williams paid 2 pence for 0.03 of a share. On the 8th of September, I had dividends from Valterra Platinum, who paid 7 pence for 1.06 shares. AstraZeneca paid 66 pence for 0.85 of a share, and Money Group paid 24 pence for 7.33 shares. Lloyds paid £4.78 in dividends, and I held 392.11 shares. This is one of the larger holdings in my ISA, as I have invested in this stock both individually and in pies. I then had a dividend from Johnson & Johnson for 25 pence, and I held 0.3 of a share. On the 10th of September, I had 6 dividend payments. The first was from AGNC Investment at 11 pence with 1.41 shares. BT paid me £2.45 with 42.61 shares. Chevron paid 9 pence with 0.08 of a share. Eli Lilly paid 11 pence with 0.11 of a share. Emerson Electric paid 3 pence with 0.1 of a share. And IBM paid 6 pence with 0.05 of a share. On the 11th, I had 1 dividend from Microsoft for 2 pence with 0.04 of a share. On the 12th, I had 6 pence from PPG Industries with 0.12 of a share. Next was Unilever with a payment of £9.12 for 23.29 shares. This was the largest dividend I received this month, and I was excited to see what else would be paid. And then NatWest paid me £1.43 for 15 shares. On the 15th of September, I was paid 3 pence from Main Street Capital for 0.21 of a share. Stag Industrial paid 3 pence for 0.39 of a share. Goldman Sachs paid 57 pence for 30.17 shares. Realty Income paid 22 pence with 1.31 shares. Melrose Industries paid 2 pence with 0.79 of a share, and Agree Realty paid me 3 pence for 0.18 of a share. At this point, we were halfway through September, and I knew that this month's total was already beyond the total for last month. So I was really excited to see what the rest of the month would bring. On the 16th, Barclays paid 26 pence for 8.73 shares. McDonald's paid 5 pence for 0.04 of a share, and Duke Energy paid 7 pence for 0.1 of a share. On the 17th, London Stock Exchange Group paid 3 pence for 0.05 of a share. On the 18th, I had dividends from Home Depot, who paid 14 pence for 0.09 of a share. Rolls-Royce paid £1.35 for 29.92 shares. And SSE paid 40 pence for 0.92 of a share. On the 19th, BP paid me £2.82 for 45.56 shares, and Glencore paid 40 pence for 10.82 shares. On the 22nd, Rotork paid 1 pence for 0.3 of a share, and then I had 2 payments from Shell at 50 pence for 1.85 shares, and £2.37 for 8.88 shares. On the 23rd, Aberdeen Group paid £1.09 for 14.9 shares. Yum China paid 20p for 1.31 shares. And United Health paid £7.62 for 5.48 shares. BlackRock paid 4p with 0.01 of a share. And on the 24th, I had dividends from iShares at 2p, 8p, 1p, and 4p. On the 25th, Rio Tinto paid out £1.85 for 1.7 shares. On the 26th, Lockheed Martin paid 30p for 0.14 of a share. Main Street Capital paid 4p for 0.21 of a share. Waste Management paid 9p with 0.16 of a share. HSBC paid 39p with 5.35 shares. And Legal & General paid out £8.39. And at this point, I held 137.12 shares. On the 29th of September, I was paid 4p from Gilead Sciences with 0.08 of a share. T. Rowe Price paid 10p with 0.12 of a share. Gladstone Capital paid 4p with 0.56 of a share. Pembina Pipeline paid 6p with 0.18 of a share. And then the final dividend day for September was on the 30th, and I had dividends of 22p from Babcock International, where I held 4.84 shares. Ares Capital paid 90p with 2.97 shares. The S&P Dividend Aristocrats paid out 15p with half a share. Gladstone Capital paid 6p with 0.56 of a share. The Renewables Infrastructure Group paid £2.06, and I held 109 shares. LTC Properties paid 5p with 0.38 of a share. Gladstone Commercial paid 13p with 2.06 shares. Imperial Brands paid 40p, and I held 1 share. Gladstone Investment paid 5p, and I had 0.95 of a share. Gladstone Land paid 4p, and I had 1.42 shares, with my final dividend of September being from PepsiCo at 83p with 0.91 of a share. This gave me a total dividend payment for September of £54.59. This felt crazy to me and was by far my biggest dividend month so far. All of this was reinvested back into my ISA to continue compounding. I hope you find these videos entertaining or interesting, or you just want to see how much money I have. So please consider subscribing and following along. And if you want to see how I got here or my dividends for October, you can check out this video.